Hello, welcome back into another installment of Dr. Darnise's Lifestyle and Writing Salon. And coming to you today to talk more about the high vibrational lifestyle and, in particular, Black women's spiritual awakening. How many know that where Black spiritual women go, so goes Black spirituality? Let me rephrase that. Where Black church women go, so goes Black church. Black women are the Black church. Black women are, I'm going to say Black women are American Christianity. We know that if you look in any Black church on any given Sunday, most of the people sitting in there are Black women and their young children. Yes, there's some older people, some older men, but for the most part, it's Black women who have been running the church since its beginning. So, what I want to talk about this time is not so much about Black women in the Black Christian church, but what Black women are also choosing in this time of spiritual awakening. What are some things that Black women, let's say in particular African American women, are doing towards the spiritual awakening? First of all, what is the spiritual awakening? Well, that's a whole set of videos that I'm going to go into and talk about what's happening to us as humans. We are evolving, we are growing, we are expanding in consciousness. We have moved from third density into fourth density. If you've watched my other video, I mentioned that we're moving from third density into fourth density, and that means we're stepping into a time of greater awakening and compassion. It's a fourth chakra energy. Fourth chakra is the heart chakra. It's about compassion. And believe it or not, we're stepping into that. We're turning the page. Likewise, Black women's spirituality are turning the page. Black women are rising. You notice? Black women are finally getting some recognition from high places. Joe Biden said in his speech, winning the presidency, right, that he owes a debt of gratitude to Black people and Black women in particular, there with his new Vice President Kamala Harris, Stacey Abrams down there in Georgia. He recognized, and the whole country is starting to realize that it's Black women who have been the workhorses, who have been pushing democracy forward. Right? This is not against Black men at all. Please don't mistake me. We need our Black men. We need our divine masculine, as I always say. We need our divine masculine. We also need, this is also a time for the divine Black feminine to be heard, to be seen, to be valued. Because for too long, we have not been. We've been on the bottom of the bottom. I say all that to say is that Black women, particularly in the United States, are having a moment. And the moment is not quickly passing. It's our moment to do with what we want. And one thing I see us doing is stepping boldly into spiritual spaces where we never were. I see us exploring African traditional spiritualities. I see us reading tarot cards. I see us exploring our own intuition, right? The spiritual awakening that is happening throughout humanity is to level us up. It is to expand our consciousness so that we understand that we are divine. We come from the divine and God is within. That is really the spiritual awakening. God is within. Meet God there. We don't need external churches, buildings, ministers. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, but we don't need it. It should not replace our own spiritual walk. And that's what we're finding out as we see so many of our Christian churches and ministers implode and just fall. It's just falling like so many things in 2020. really the whole 21st century. Since 2000, we've seen so many of our institutions that were considered to be too big to fail. They're failing, they're crumbling right before our eyes, including the evangelical church, including Black women's faithful adherence and attendance at these churches. Because while you're going to always have Black women going to Christian church, and I don't knock it. I really don't. But we also have an uprising of especially younger Black women who are millennials, Gen Z. They don't want an institution anymore. They don't look outside of themselves for spirituality. They're asking questions like, how do I have this relationship myself? I'm spiritual but not religious. Young Black women are saying this. I teach at the university. I'm a college professor. I teach religion. I teach African American history. They tell me all the time, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. I don't need somebody else telling me any doctrine or trying to make me feel shame or guilt. I know who I am, and I just need to have my own path with God and the whole universe. Can you teach me about that? And I say all the time, yeah, I can teach you about that. That's what I do. Because I was you when I was 15, when I was 20, when I was 25, when I was 30. I was you. And some of the things that I didn't find, well, I found them, right? I found myself in various spiritual communities, spiritual salons that were all white, and me. Because I had certain spiritual questions. I was always reading spiritual books, even from a young child. Young child, I was reading about Eastern spiritualities. And I had the freedom in my family to do so. We were Methodists, but, no one in my family said that I couldn't read these books. So what I'm finding now is more and more Black women are finding that they don't need permission anymore. We don't need permission to explore our own African traditional spiritualities, Ifa, Vodun, Santeria, Lukumi, Hoodoo. We don't need permission. We are exploring, we are growing, because we recognize that our own intuition, I call it our God voice, is speaking loudly to us and is guiding us, and it always has. We recognize that we can get in touch with this God voice through affirmative prayer and meditation, and maybe going to see a psychic, or maybe going to a babalao, maybe going to a mambo. And yeah, some Christian people are going to talk about that and say, oh no, you're not allowed to do that. That's not godly. That's demonic. You see what they say about Beyonce nowadays. I'm going to do another video on her. What is Beyonce doing for Black women's spirituality these days? She is really expanding it. No matter what you think about her musically, what she is doing is opening up doors for everybody really to learn about African traditional spiritualities. And so many young Black women are running in droves because they recognize these old model churches and spirituality, that's just not going to do it anymore. They don't trust it. They see that so much of it is corrupt. They're not having it. They're already showing us demographically that they are not going to go to these churches. Okay, so what is left for us? What is left for us is our own spiritual awakening, for us to pursue those big questions, and to know that we're valuable. We have a right to explore. We have a right to integrate our culture into our spirituality. We have the right to understand who Isis was. We know her as Isis, but her name is really Aset. Isis is a Greek name. Isis is the colonizer name. Her name was Aset. If you're not familiar, you might want to look it up. It's A-U-S-E-T. A-U-S-E-T. Aset. That's her African name. So when Black women are saying, I want to know, I want to explore, and I don't want to feel guilt or shame or feel like I'm going to go to hell for it, I say, yeah, well, look up Aset. And they say, you mean Isis? I didn't know that was her name. Yeah, that's her African name. She's the goddess of transformation with Osiris, his real African name, Asar. That's a little bit of homework from the professor here to say if you have not heard of Aset and Asar, then I ask you to Google and feast your eyes. Also, let's see what else. I wrote down here, what else are we doing? Searching and owning our gifts. Like I said, we don't need permission. And many of us are finding our way to attend conferences and to read books and to show up in places where there weren't any Black people before. We're, meditating. We're doing our scripting, our law of attraction, manifesting. I'm going to do a whole class on that, y'all, because we got to get this law of attraction, manifesting thing down. People out here talking about it in ways that demonstrate they don't know. They don't know how to really manifest. They don't know how to really work with the law of attraction. And as I said, I'm a religion scholar. I'm going to teach you how to really do it. We've learned that it's okay to honor our ancestors, to venerate our ancestors. What it does not mean is we don't worship our ancestors. So if anybody's watching, we don't worship them. A lot of Christians are like, well, you worship ancestors. You're not allowed to do that. We don't worship them. We honor them. We're not worshiping crystals. I got crystals over here. Big old piece of crystal, of clear quartz crystal. Rose quartz with some chakras on it. I like it because it had a little point on it. I'm wearing a clear crystal too. I tend to, and obviously my necklace is all crystals. We don't worship these things. My question for Christians would be, do you worship the cross? Do you worship your Bible? Or are those just tools? I don't think you worship them, so please don't misunderstand. I'm not worshiping this. But also, as a Black woman who has been on my spiritual path, who's known I've been on my spiritual path for my whole life, I will say too that I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm doing either and label it as demonic. I really would like to, raise the vibration so that we can respect each other and understand that what we're doing is we're really talking about a relationship with the divine. We're really talking about a relationship with God. You can do it that way and I can do it this way, and it can still be okay. It can still be okay. So I'm going to wrap that up as another installment of our high vibrational lifestyle that I am cultivating here, and I hope you will continue to join my high vibrational party. Again, please subscribe, share. Remember, I do have another YouTube channel if you want to go over there, Dr. Darnise's House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure. We go much more deeply into the hoodoo, into the Vodun, into, the African, the Ifa, the Orisha. We do that there. But I would appreciate you hanging out here and also subscribing here. And joining me on Instagram. I'm at Dr. Darnise on Instagram, and I'll be back. So that's all for now.